Hi, I'm Colin McFader with Postromo Pictures, and I've got a little bit of a different video for you guys today. This is going to be about FilmConvert Nitrate, which is the latest upgrade to FilmConvert. And FilmConvert, in case you don't know, is a film emulation software. So essentially, if you want to emulate the look of film stocks on a digital camera, you can purchase FilmConvert, and it's essentially like a drag and drop, and it works in all major editing softwares, so Resolve, Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro X, Avid. But they just recently released their newest upgrade, which is Nitrate, and it's a paid upgrade. And they reached out to me and basically asked if I wanted a free copy of it so that I could review it and give my thoughts to you guys and give them some feedback on it. So I really appreciate that, and I want to give a big thank you to FilmConvert. And just so you know, they're not paying me, so none of these comments are coming from some sort of sponsorship. These are my genuine feelings. I've been using FilmConvert Pro for about 2 years now, but they also gave me another license. So stick around at the end of the video, because I'm just going to talk then about how you guys can potentially win that other free license. So FilmConvert Nitrate is about $120 US, and it basically is the initial FilmConvert but on steroids. There's so much more stuff that you can do that I'm going to get into, but on a basic level, just FilmConvert in general is a really great baseline product. It takes seconds to apply if you need something really quick, and you can just download your camera profile from their website for free and essentially drag and drop that onto your camera, and without any color grading, without anything else, it produces a usable image. And I give an example of that in my other video on achieving the celluloid look, which I put out a few months ago. But if you're not working in a time crunch, it also allows some really great flexibility in terms of what you can do with the software. So I have a custom preset essentially for myself that I've used on a lot of projects. Wilford Undone, which just came out, The Sun's Gone Dim, which came out a few months ago. I think every short except for one that I've done in the past 2 years I've used FilmConvert on. And I never used the camera presets. I always used just the basic kind of application process, and you would just kind of drag and drop it, and then I wouldn't choose my camera presets. I just used kind of the flat look. And the reason for that was because I found that the camera presets all sort of acted like LUTs. So once you applied them, you didn't really have a lot of flexibility with what you could do with the image. But that's all been changed in Nitrate. So it also makes each stock and each preset completely moldable. So even if I do put that camera preset on now, I can still go in and alter a lot of the things, which is really great and really makes it so much easier to use. So now, just real quick, I want to watch some footage that I took today. And essentially what I've done is I've gone and used my original FilmConvert preset, and then I've also done the same footage, gone through the same process with my new Nitrate custom emulation, and then at the end I have the preset, the camera preset for the Ursa Mini Pro, which I just recently got. So you can see this is the basic color profile of the camera, that just straight at a camera, and then this sliding in here is my original camera preset with FilmConvert Pro. So again, I still think this looks great. I still, the original FilmConvert Pro is something that I loved using and I got so much use out of, and it's a really great product. But there's a lot of things in Nitrate that just kind of blow the initial one out of the water. So if you see here the Nitrate grade coming in, and one of the first things I want to mention is that it's very similar. Like, there's not a huge difference between what I could do on FilmConvert Pro and what I could do on Nitrate, but behind the scenes it's completely different. The game is completely changed, really. So firstly, this grade on FilmConvert Nitrate took me probably half the time to get as it did on the original FilmConvert. So it's just so much more streamlined. It's easier to get the results that you want. And not only that, but I want you to pay attention to the sky there and see how the grain is also completely changed. So they actually, in Nitrate, have just released these brand new 6K scans of film grain. So all the stocks are 6K, and that doesn't mean that you have to be working in a film or a 6K timeline to kind of reap those rewards, because this is 4K, but you still see the amount of detail and how much more finely tuned that grain is. It's really kind of such a stark difference, and there's another shot coming up here, right in here, where you'll see this is Nitrate, and I think it looks really beautiful. You can see that the grain is really organically a part of the image. It's not just something that's a kind of an overlay, which if you look here on the right, that's the original FilmConvert. You can see that it looks much more overlaid. The grain there looks like it's just placed on top of the image and that it's not actually interacting with the light and with the color in the image. So now we're going to take a look at the camera preset. So you can see on the left here, it's the new Nitrate custom emulation that I've created, and on the right is the camera preset. So immediately right off the bat, I kind of want you to ignore the color differences, because of course the color difference on the left is just my personal taste of what I like an image to look like. I want you to look at kind of past that and think there's a few things that I want you to kind of consider. So firstly, one thing I noticed right off the bat was the camera preset's grain is way less kind of noticeable. It's a lot less well defined, and that's something that can easily be solved because I could very easily just go and boost that in, but this right side image is just the preset without any features being toggled on or off or any color correction being changed. So of course I could go in and I could boost that grain if I wanted to. But I think the biggest takeaway that I have from this is that the image on the left, which is my own, took an hour and a half to create, whereas the image on the right, which is the camera preset that I just downloaded online for free from FilmConvert, took 2 seconds to apply. So again, when you're in a time crunch and you need something really fast, these camera presets are great, and they're even better on Nitrate, because now, even if I'm not in a time crunch, if I have 10 minutes to spare, I can still go into this camera preset and change a lot of things, and alter the color, and you just have that flexibility, as I mentioned before, that you didn't have in the initial FilmConvert. So I've been really impressed with what these camera presets look like now. And again, if I have to get something out in really a short amount of time that I want I want film emulation on, these camera presets, they're just way better than the ones that were on FilmConvert Pro. You just have so much more freedom with what you want to do with the image and what you want to do with the color, and it's really impressed me. So now we're going to kind of jump into Resolve, and I'm just going to show off a few of the features that I really like with the new Nitrate upgrade. So the first one is the grain settings. So a really common problem that I had, and a problem that I actually had on Wilford Undone when I was doing, is that there's a scene that we shot that was in really low light, and the Blackmagic production camera 4K that I initially used before I upgraded to the Ursa G2, in which we shot Wilford on, does not handle low light well at all. It's got a lot of fixed pattern noise in low light. So what I tried to do was I brought it into Resolve, and I kind of tried to make it so that the footage that we shot could kind of hide, or the fixed pattern noise in that footage could be hidden with the grain in FilmConvert. And it didn't really go super well because the shadows were so filled with grain, and there was just it just kind of made the image look muddy, and I think it worked in the end, but it could have been way better, and it's something that I notice every time I watch it, that I wish I could have fixed, and now I literally could fix it. So what they've done is they've added this feature called Grain Curve, and it basically splits up the image, much like your color wheels would, with you've got your highlights, your midtones, and your shadows, and then you've got your mid shadows and mid highlights. And so if I want to put a bunch of grain in my shadows, I can do that. I can go to 100% on shadows, and you can see that only in these areas right here is the grain being affected at all. And then I can do, midtones, so you can see there, that's pretty much, the full image other than those highlights in the windows. And if I want those, there you go. So that makes, life so much easier, because you can individually, basically cater your process to the lighting situation that you're working in, which is just really, really useful. So the next is whenever I would shoot on ET, which is my favorite film stock, and of course you have a choice of all sorts of different film stocks in here. You've got some black and white ones, you've got Fuji, you've got stills film, and you've got motion film. But ET is always my favorite. I really liked the way that ET worked with colors. But my issue with ET was always that the grain was really, really big on it. The grain just looked huge, and you can see here, if I go back to the default settings, the grain is, the size of the grain is just bigger. So now what I can do is I can just change that, put it down to 2, so the grain is a lot more finer in its detail, and it looks a little bit more like the Super 35 look that I want to achieve. Another reason this is really helpful is that when I was doing Wilfred Undone, I wanted to be able to emulate that kind of softness that older movies had. So if you look at Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, there's kind of a softness in the image. The edges aren't super, super sharp. And the only way I could really do that was by going down to 16 millimeter. And you can see here again that the grain just gets so big, especially on ET. So what I could do now is go to 16 millimeter, but then make that grain the same size as it was before, but keep that softness. So I've got this kind of softness all over the image, but the grain isn't so overpowering like it was in Wilfred, which is really, really useful. I can also now pull down the luma and the chroma, which provides some really interesting results. You just have, again, more functionality within the product, and it's so streamlined, and it works. I'm really pleased with the results. The fact that, again, this emulation took me half the time it took to do on the original FilmConvert should speak for itself. So there's only a few suggestions that I have for FilmConvert moving forward, and it's more things that I'd like to see in the product rather than fixes or anything like that. And one of those is large format stocks. So I'd really like to see a Panavision 70 and maybe an IMAX 70 stock. That'd be really cool. And perhaps some more Kodak motion stocks, so like a 500T 5219 would be really neat. It's one of my favorite stocks. And if they could even just kind of have a community section where you can upload custom stocks that you can then download and kind of insert and install into your FilmConvert software, that'd be really, really neat. But other than that, I'm really pleased with the product. I think that Nitrate has improved on everything that I felt it needed work on. There's so much stuff in Nitrate that I didn't even get to touch on just because I didn't want this video to go too long. But I would highly, highly recommend picking up this product. So as I mentioned at the beginning, FilmConvert did send me another copy of Nitrate to give to one of you guys. So all you got to do to enter for the giveaway is just tell me below, really short, one sentence, why you use film emulation and why you like to emulate film in your work. And in a week, I will get back to one of you guys and send you the download code for Nitrate. Thanks so much for watching, and again, thank you to FilmConvert for allowing me to do this.